Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Now, today really is Friday. I know I messed that up last week, but today is Friday. We've been waiting all week, and how exciting. And again, I hope you made some incredible plans to get out there. I'm hoping it's getting warm where you are. I mean, I can tell you LA is definitely starting to look like LA again, which is great. Good morning, Sean. So today I wanted to make the topic a little more fun. Thank you, Gordon. I don't know if that's the right word. It depends on your ex. Good morning, Kaylee. But I'm sure all of us have a story or two that we can share about our ex, right? And maybe that story is a positive one, and maybe that story is not so positive. But let's talk about it. So all of us have had exes. And I want to ask you, like, during that relationship, did you feel like you were crazy, like you went nuts, or it wasn't you, or you were behaving or acting in a way that wasn't of your normal self? Good morning, Dory, Brenda. Oh my goodness. Good morning, everybody. Show me some hearts if you can relate to that. You know, that in this relationship, you were just going a little nuts. You were going a little crazy. And maybe you were reacting in a way that you wouldn't. Or maybe, you know, you were feeling so many intuitive hits also. And then the person wouldn't validate for you. So then you really thought you were nuts, right? That's the toughest. I think that's one of the toughest things, is to get those intuitive hits while we're seeing someone, and then them go, "Oh no, you're making that up. No, no." You're like, and then you find out later you were right. Oh, that's a tough one. But we also learn things from these exes. One of the things, like, I'll take away from a long-term relationship I have been in, it still sticks with me today, is he's so Republican and conservative, so crazy Republican and conservative. So if just think of that, like Fox News on all the time, that sort of conservative. And I would say things, and continuously throughout this relationship, he would say things like, "You're so psychic, man, you must be psychic." And he meant that genuinely. And I wasn't doing this work professionally at that time. So now, all these years later, I go, gosh, here you've got someone who probably wouldn't have believed in the work, but knew something was different. He knew something was different about me, because, why else would he be saying those things? So that always, for me, sometimes it's such great validation. If someone like that believes so offhandedly without realizing what is happening, I think that that's incredible. So it's things like that. And, ask yourself, have you stayed in relationships longer than you should have? Should you have gotten out of this relationship much sooner? Were the signs there and you didn't listen to them, or you didn't want to see them? Or were you continuously giving the person the benefit of the doubt? Did you find yourself victim to that situation? Because Brenda's like, yes. She's like, yes. Because that happens. That happens. We do that. And I think, honestly, honestly, some of that is because we're empaths. Good morning, Gail. Some of that because we're empaths. And so what happens is we feel their feelings, or we can see their side of it, or we understand what their soul is going through. So we sit there and go, oh, but I know they kind of care. I know they're dealing with this issue, but if they could just get over that issue, this would be a great relationship. And it never works out that way, does it? It works out that you would have saved yourself a lot of time if you just gone when you had that intuitive hit to go. But, you know, maybe Spirit has you learning a lesson. Maybe Spirit has you staying in a situation to complete a soul contract. You know, maybe it is about you knowing, but somehow on a soul level, you agreed to help them see something. Whether you'll get to see that validation or not, we don't know. But somehow on a level, you agreed to that. So there's a many reasons why we could be staying in something longer. I mean, we could be codependent. You know, you have to look at yourself honestly and openly. I mean, quite frankly, most of us are probably codependent in one way or form. I think humans are codependent. Human beings, as you know, are meant to need one another. You know, the idea is that you're supposed to be happy by yourself, the ability to be happy by yourself, the ability to feel fulfilled by yourself. But ultimately, we're all connected. So why would we not need one another? Why would we not want that closeness to one another? We could, we should. There's no need to not. But sometimes it could be too much, that it's unhealthy, or, you know, too much that you're not really learning and growing because you're so sucked into this relationship. But, and then there's the ghosting. There's the ghosting X. For anyone who doesn't know what ghosting is, that is basically when the person completely vanishes out of thin air, off of the planet in a way. They just stop communicating altogether. That is always a little immature, and you know, that's a bit immature, and you have to just thank your lucky stars if you're not around them. So thank your lucky stars if they, you know, did ghost you. It's hard because, again, you go through that pain and that hurt, but, you know, you're really lucky because, you know, do you really want someone who doesn't know how to communicate with you? I mean, no. I mean, I would hope we're all a little too old to want that. I mean, this isn't our first rodeo, right? So, but take some time throughout the day and look at your exes and ask, what did I learn from a past relationship? What did I learn from that ex? Because we all learned something. Absolutely. Nothing is for null, right? You absolutely learn something from it. You either learn what you do want in a partner, what you don't want in a partner. You may learn something about yourself in that relationship. You may learn what your triggers are. You may learn that someone on the surface is one way, but as you get to know them, there's a completely different person behind the scenes. It may also teach you to trust your instincts. Again, I'm a big believer that a lot of us get intuitive hits about something or a situation or a person that gives us a little bit of a warning, a little bit of an indicator that, hey, something isn't quite right. So listen to that. And if you're in a relationship, why don't you start writing those things down? Keep it hidden with a lock and a key really far away so they can't see it. But start writing those things down so that if by chance that relationship ends, you can look back through and see, when did you say something and was it right, and were you right on that intuitive hit? I mean, it's a good way to kind of look at things and test things. Now, one last thing is with, you know, breakups in particular, we can experience a lot of heartbreak. We can experience a lot of sadness and heaviness, and just a natural desire to close down our heart, right? You're like, oh, I don't want to do that again. But odds are you're not going to do the exact same thing again. Or hopefully not, because hopefully you would have learned something from that relationship and then learned you don't want to repeat it. Or learned that there was something in that relationship that you do want to carry forward. So it's happening. And Gail, yeah, you know, what happens if your intuition is wrong? Can you still trust it? Well, I don't think your intuition is wrong. It could be your interpretation of your intuition, right? I always feel that the intuition is right on. Somehow, though, that intuition happens down here in the solar plex, but really it hits the brain, it hits the logical space before we get that end result. So I think somehow within that interpretation step is we may misinterpret what we believe to be an intuitive hit. But don't beat yourself up. It's fine. It happens. I drive down the road and I make a wrong turn. I do not get every direction right. Sometimes I'll get off the wrong exit. Whether that's a MapQuest issue or me not paying attention, I'll get off the wrong exit. Well, that was wrong. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get off the right exit. So if something is astray, you cannot beat yourself up. You cannot say, I can't trust myself. Of course you can. You gotta. You're all you got. So there's so many things. Now, I wonder, do any of you, have any of you had a friendly breakup? Like, it's so nice meeting you. Didn't work out after a year of dating. Show me some hearts if that happened, because I haven't had that. And I'll tell you, actually, this is a little funny thing. For anyone I've dated, their new girlfriend or whatever bans the man from talking to me. So I don't have any exes that are friends. So either I am bat crazy, which I could be, or something. But the women literally, part of that relationship agreement that they have is that man is never allowed to communicate with me again. So now, Corey, that is such a great question. Can emotion warp your intuition? Absolutely. What happens is our heart gets in the way. Our empathy gets in the way. Our benefit of the doubt gets in the way. And so it sways what we know we should be doing. It does. And so, but again, if it's warping, if it's doing it, there's not much we can do, because your logic will always get trumped by your feelings. If you're really attached to someone and really feeling connected to someone, even if your logical brain says they're not the right one for you, this person's not the right one, your emotions trump that logic. Your emotions can't pull you out of it. It's not until it's resolved or something happens on the heart level that finally you can let that relationship go. But last thing is, if you really love someone, or you thought they were amazing, or you really thought there was potential, and you were shattered at the end of it, you were just shattered, they just got out, or something happened, and it didn't end nicely, or whatever the case may be, remember, your spirit team pulled that person out. Okay? So for your highest good. True that. I believe that all the time. As much as my heart may hurt, right? Your spirit team pulls that person out, or pulls you out from the situation for your highest good. So just kind of trust that. And again, as I always say, the most important thing is to not let that heart hurt so much. Allow yourself to heal. Because how many times have you had a relationship where it's taking you a year or 2 years or even longer to get over it? Well, if you add all that up, look at how many years you've wasted feeling hurt, or how many years you've wasted not being available for the right person, the right match. They're all going to be the wrong until you connect with the right. So don't give up. Don't give yourself a hard time. And today, have a little gratitude for the ones that were there, why they were there, what did you learn from them, what did you give to them? Did you give unconditionally? Because you know what? Pat yourself on the back, because it's so hard for people to do that. So rare that people give unconditionally without an expectation of return. So if you're opening your heart and giving of yourself and being there and being present and, giving chances and all of that great stuff, pat yourself on the back. Okay? So, yeah, crazy exes. I'll tell you. We'll all sit around one day and share some crazy stories. Doesn't that sound good? We're gonna need some wine. We're gonna need a little something in the coffee. So have a great weekend, and thank you guys so much. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday for another Coffee with Colby. Talk to you later. Bye.